Okay, I picked up this little Harbor Freight 800 watt generator, thinking this was the only problem. As far as I can tell, it's like some sort of a grounding wire for static. I do need to read up on that a little bit more. So anyway, there was a mouse living in here. I popped off the screws to get the gas tank off, and unfortunately, I think the damage is quite a bit worse than I thought. This generator has actually never been used. The engine is not seized, so it's not hopeless, but I mean, even brand new, these are, you can get them for 90 bucks. You know, I got this for $10. With that said, let me show you what I found. So obviously he was living inside of here for a while, caused a lot of damage. It smells. I found another broken wire, which looks a little more important. So I need to kind of trace that and see where it goes. Actually, I see where it goes. This is the on and off switch. There's no wires attached. So I'm guessing this is one of them. And the other one is probably connected to a ground somewhere. So the wiring stuff I'm not too worried about. But I see a much bigger problem down here. That's the carburetor. I think he was living right on top of it. Everything's rusted. Choke lever does not move, nor does the throttle plate. So I'm going to pop that off and try cleaning it, but I'm not sure if this is going to come back without a new carburetor at a minimum. You know, so I'll try to clean it, but I'll price it out. If it's like 10, 15 bucks, maybe I'll do it. But, you know, I'm not going to sell this thing for very much, even though it's never been used. You know, the resale value on a working one is probably $60. And, you know, I'll put a little bit into it, but don't want to go crazy spending money on this one. Okay, so I looked up online how much a new carburetor is. It's $12. Overnight shipping included. 12 bucks. Carburetor and overnight shipping. So I went ahead and did that. So tonight's mostly going to be, you know, getting off the old carburetor and probably just reconnecting the wires and getting it prepped basically for the new carburetor. I am gonna probably try to wash the old one. I'm not expecting it to come back in the condition it's in, but potentially the parts could be used, some parts could be used in another project, so you know, I will try to preserve what's left of it. So first I'm gonna take the fuel tank off of this to get a easier access to everything, and then I think the front panel needs to come off. And from there I can work on those things I just spoke of. Here's a better shot of the carburetor and its condition. Nothing moves. Also, I took off this panel. the back plate for the outlet. And you can see this wire is a ground wire. Doesn't look too bad in here. No additional chewed wires. I do see a little nibble there, so I'll have to check that out. But overall, the wiring isn't that bad. All these switches and everything look pretty good. So, like I said, the main focus will be reattaching these two tonight to here and getting a new ground wire. And I'll clean this stuff up a little bit as best I can, and we'll try to get that off. What a mess. You know, probably gonna blast it with some PB Blaster and just let it soak for a little bit, and then I'll come back and see if I can get this off. Okay, so there's no way to get the carburetor off unless I remove the studs. So in order to do that, I just double nutted it, make them real tight, and then I can hopefully back the studs out. Okay, so I put this in the ultrasonic for about 10 minutes. None of the throttle plates freed up. I was able to crack the bowl, and as expected, I mean, it's brand new inside, but the exterior is trash. So I'll put this in the bin, the parts bin. All right, all things considered, as far as the wiring goes, you know, I think it's all set. We actually got pretty lucky because, you know, he really could have nibbled on these right where they go in, and to access that, you would have had to pull everything off, and it may not be possible. Do you notice a chip in the housing there? I mean, that, I was gonna say maybe it's from the factory like that, but it looks clean under there, so I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, I'm gonna take a wire brush to these surfaces and just try to get this disgusting surface stuff off, and probably run a vacuum over it again. But everything else is good. The governor seems to move freely. All the wires are reconnected properly. You know, I'm not gonna bolt things back up until we get the carburetor, so it'll stay like this until tomorrow. And once I get the carburetor, obviously I'll put it on and try it out. Probably gonna also put some 2-cycle oil down the spark plug hole. You know, this has never been run before, and I think with any 2-cycle engine especially, you know, there's absolutely no oil when you first fire it up. And you know, it should help the break-in period. It could be, you know, 30 seconds, a couple minutes before that oil from the fuel starts to coat things inside the engine. And being that this has been destroyed by a mouse and 7 years sitting on a shelf somewhere, it's, you know, I'm gonna try to do what I can to kind of get this thing through the break-in period. You know, I don't even know if it survived the mouse break-in period, but hopefully it did. So we'll find out. Okay, so did another round of cleaning. Might be hard to tell, but it does look better. Smells better. I did put a little bit of 2-cycle oil down the hole. And a lot of people say these spark plugs that come with it are junk, so I'm probably gonna, if it runs, I'll probably replace this with a name brand. It's an F5TC, never used. And I did just test for spark. I do have a spark. And I connected the switch with the new wires and turned it off. No more spark. So the switch is working. So anyway, I'm going to tighten this plug up and set this aside till the new carburetor comes and install that tomorrow. All right, $12 later and 24 hours later. We got our new carb. So the carb I pulled off of there, thankfully I didn't try to run, because with the throttle plate locked and full open, it would have destroyed the engine in seconds. So this one here, not expecting much for 12 bucks, but it should do something. The reviews actually weren't half bad, so. Yeah, so let's bolt it on and start it up. Okay, so this old gasket actually is in pretty good shape. I don't think I'm going to mess with it. It did come with a new gasket. Actually, I could probably double gasket it, but I don't think there's any, it won't hurt anything, but I think I'll hold on to this one in case I need it. So we'll need to get those studs reinstalled. And I do want to put some fluid film on the rusty parts. That'll slow down the rust. So, not much to hook up here. I guess my main concern is just keeping these wires out of the way of the governor. So once I get this on, you know, I'll make sure I zip tie it in such a way that these wires do not interfere with, you know, the way this moves. You know, other than that, I'm not too worried about where the wires end up. I do need to reconnect the fuse, and this is the outlet power, which goes right there. And the fuse wires are there, and that's pretty much it. Just screw it on and done. So let me take care of that now. Okay, I don't know the torque settings for this. This is 20 inch-pounds right now. So it's somewhere between 20 and 40. 40 was not clicking. And honestly, I don't know if I dare go to 40 on this thing. I don't know. I think you missed it. I just put the fuel tank on and forgot to record it. But it's really not complicated, so sorry about that. Anyway, we just got the air box left, and again, you saw how it came off. It's pretty much the same thing in reverse. What do you think? Should I start it? So this is pre-mixed. It's a 50-to-1. I also have some pre-mixed 30-to-1, so I am gonna add a little bit of that to this. When breaking in a 2-cycle engine, it's good to run it with a little bit of extra 2-cycle oil during the break-in period. Okay, time to see if this thing works. So turn it on. Yep.
Oh, is it choked?
Nope, you gotta choke it.
What's
All
that
right.
red button?
That's a fuse. So I'm gonna hold this while you pull.
Okay. You're right.
You gotta
It's
pull
hard.
it. Yeah, you gotta pull it further. Ooh, hold on.
You need to get a good.
So, as you can see, it starts a little finicky, had to work the choke, but once it was going, it was fine. I need to break in the engine, so I'm going to put a light load on it, and then give it a rest, and then put a slightly heavier load, maybe a half load on it, and run it for an hour, and just make sure everything's good. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.